Hello and welcome, this is Daniel Kennedy with Steadfast Construction and Design. We're here at week 11 now, so we've had the guys back after the lockdown for 1 week, so we're just slowly picking up the pace. Work's going to be going at a slower pace due to the social distancing, and we've had to limit the number of guys on site because with the size of the team it just wasn't going to be able to be a viable solution of having everybody on and still adhering to social conditioning. So we'll do a quick sort of pan round the site and you can take a look at what we've been up to. Coming into the kitchen area now, one big change that we've had is we've had to pull up the Minton flooring in the kitchen area and then also in the front lobby area you can see over there. And that was because under the Minton flooring there is just dirt. That's typically how they built these, and sometimes sulphur can come up in between the tiles, and that's obviously not ideal. So unfortunately we've had to take up the small tiles, dig down a little bit, and what we'll do is we'll treat it as any new extension. We'll put down some sand, flatten it out, put down some Celotex, put down a concrete pad as well as a DPC, and then we'll treat it and level it. What I'll do is I'll try and get somebody to come out and replicate the Minton flooring, depending on the cost. If it's viable, then I'm definitely going to, although it's not really going to earn any more money and it's a bit of a sort of wasteful way to spend money in an investment business, I think it's really important to try and keep big, bold, grand properties like this the same and try and repeat the pattern. It'll just add that little bit of wow, and everyone loves a good Minton flooring. I think anyway. I think they look fab. So one thing to make sure that we're compliant with COVID-19, there's like a government paper that's actually quite useful, and there's also, they've done these like immediate courses for these health and safety advisors. So we had someone out to come and look at the site and tell us what we needed to do, and there was a few things that we weren't compliant with. So we need to have a site safety board. These are bloody expensive actually. I tried to get it cheaper but you just can't, and I like the fact that it tells you what you're missing. So like we need to get the insurance certificate displayed, which we've got, that's in my email. It tells you what you need to do, like you need to have the local hospital and the routes to it, you need to have the local first aider on site, you need to have the accident book, you need to have the who's on site, who's off site register and where they are in case there's a fire. You need to have the site induction folder, you need to have the personal record, so you like CCS cards and stuff like that, you need to have the fire action plan. So it's actually been quite a liberating, well, not liberating, quite a learning experience having this advisor come. And another thing that we have to have hot and cold water, so that's why we've got this sink here, and we need to have chairs as well, strangely enough, with back supports. So, and then we'll be fully compliant. And as we branch out to start to do more jobs, we'll factor all this in. So I'm actually really pleased. So we've just been focusing on the main arteries of the plumbing. This is going to be where our boilers are going. We've had a slight change of plan. So this is going to be where, because we can get the flues directly out, and we'll have the tanks in the basement. So there'll sort of like be 2 boiler rooms here. So here we have the ridges of the roof. Everyone is going to get redone. So the tiles get peeled back. And then in fact, I'll go up and show you. So they have this plastic, this fiberglass corner, which you can see you have the lath that comes up to that edge, and then the tiles come along it, and then you rebuild the ridge back up. So any water that gets in between the tiles ends up in between the fiberglass, meaning all the water gets moved away from the property, and that goes all the way underneath the tiles. And then that's mainly been the focus, and once we get the roof we can then really sort of hammer down on the boarding and plastering inside, and that's all we've done really this week. And that is pretty much all we did. So we only had a few guys on site last week. We're getting into the swing of things. All work is basically being concentrated on the plumbing and the roof, and then we'll move on to boarding, and then it'll just be plaster city here. We'll be insulating, boarding, and then just focusing on plastering, and then that's when we'll be able to close everything up. We'll start the plastering, so then we'll really see the shape of the rooms come together. Because you don't tend to get a feel for how big they are until it's all boarded up and you can walk around and it's all clear, and then you can sort of get a feel of what actually 10 square meters feels like, or 15 square meters feels like, or some of the smallest room I believe is 8 square meters. For this one, this is a huge room with the bed upstairs. You're looking at about 25 square meters here, so we'll really get a feel for how big these rooms are. I'm actually really glad to be back on site. It's sort of like the less you do, the less you want to do. So it's not been a good period. I haven't really been too productive, whereas I've done quite a bit in the last week and at the weekend than I did in the previous 8 weeks. So I don't know if you found that, but we've also coming to a close on the London project. So we're in talks with a few investors to take on some more projects as a project manager. So this isn't hiring Steadfast, but it's getting myself involved as a consultant and PMing the job from beginning, from conception all the way to delivering the product. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Drop me a line and hopefully we'll work together. Cheers.